Hey everybody, welcome to FabFit Friday. I want to say this is the FabFit Friday that almost didn't happen because I have had a week and I'm going to keep the week to myself, but let me just say that I had a lot of stuff going on this week that had nothing to do with J Stern Designs, and I had a very hard time getting any work done this week. However, I was able to cut out a second pair. Hey Dawn, welcome. Sorry I'm a little late getting going here. It's been a week. I've had a week from, I don't want to say hell, but it's been a lot of extra things going on this week, and I got almost no work done this week, which is freaking me out. But I decided what I would do is I sewed together a muslin pair of the contoured pants, and I ironed or pressed the seams because that was one of the comments I got last week, that it would be better to see how the seams look pressed. So I did get that all prepared. I'm sitting in them right now, and what I think, and you can tell me what you think because I'm going to show you how these fit. I think I would like to change the fisheye dart because it is, I can see that it's pinching inward and then releasing, both mostly below, but a little bit also above where that dart is at crotch level. So I'm going to show you, but instead of making the dart less, I'm going to take the leg in some more because I really would love like a really slim fitting pair of pants, like, you know, like a really fitted slim pair, and I can see the potential for that with this 3-piece leg design. So let's start by showing you. And of course, remember last week I made these out of a stretch woven, which was too big, and they're still kind of roomy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how it looks. I've already looked, so I know how they look as well. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some adjustments, and we're going to try them on again. So this is how the front is fitting. See, I feel like I still can get rid of a little bit of room here. I feel like I don't have a fitting waistband on, and I know that was another comment from last week, but for now, I'm going to take my side seams in just a little bit, okay? And then let's look at the back. All right, I already know what this looks like. I feel like the dart is grabbing a little bit, pinching. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do above and below. So that's what I'm going to try fixing. And let me I'm just going to tilt the camera up. I'm just going to slip these off so I can take them on and off. This will be like, I don't know, half nude sewing. I'm just going to leave them off for now. All right. Oh, hello, Lala Bell. Welcome. Oh, it's the first time you've been able to come live, and you're going to join me for the grading, the pattern grading class with Pattern Review. Oh, that's a cool class. That is a review of my workbook, and then I do give half off the workbook during the, when you take that class as well. That is a really fun class. So yay, I'm happy you'll be joining me for that. Hey Victoria, welcome. You had fun in your sewing room the past couple of weeks. First legs fell off my cutting table. Then a big chunk of plaster fell out of my wall. Oh dear, and a curtain rod came tumbling down. That sounds like my back porch. The ice is now melting a little bit because it's gotten a little bit closer to past freezing a little bit. So I have water dripping out of my ceiling because of all the snow on the roof. So I'm going to have to deal with that. Oh, hey, Mary. I almost wasn't going to come on either. I've had a week. I've had a lot of things going on that have gotten in the way of working on J Stern Design. So at first I thought I'd have nothing to share, but I did work on these pants and I did show you. So let's take a look at the pattern now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I guess this might be fun because this is me showing you if I was working on something for myself by myself, this is how I would do it. And I ripped my pattern, so I'm just going to fix that before it gets worse here. I had a pattern weight on it and I tried to pull it and I tore it. Okay, so again, I feel like when I tried on these pants, hey Darlene, welcome. Oh, Jennifer, I can't. Okay, so Darlene is in the 3-day pants fitting I'm doing in Arizona next weekend, and she's excited for it, and I'm really excited for it too. I'm excited to get away for a myriad of reasons now. Partially, it'll be nice to get out of the cold, snowy weather. That's my number one thing, and I am very excited about coming. And La La Belle has specific vintage patterns you need to grade up. That is one of the common reasons why people take that class, because vintage patterns are very small. And so that could be very helpful for that. All right, so let's look at what I have going on the back leg first. So I did, if you remember, I had a little bit of puffiness on my behind. I trimmed off this extra brown sliver that I added, so I just trimmed that back off already. But I think what I'm going to do, see how down here it comes back out? I'm going to trim some of this off. I'm not going to trim it off the paper, but what I am going to do is test it in the muslin first. So let's just see here. I'm going to turn these legs inside out, and let's look at what I'm talking about in fabric here. So let's lay this seam flat. So you can see this is wrinkly right here. That's because I was sitting on it and I had my knees bent. I will say these are very comfortable to sit in, which makes me happy. And I was able to stand up, bend, and turn my lights on, which are underneath my cutting table. So I can bend and touch the floor without the crotch hanging down as well. So that makes me happy. All right, so let's look at this closely here. I'm just going to show this right here. Okay, so this is the seam I'm talking about right here. And you can see it doesn't really even look like it's much of a dip in fabric, but this is the center of the, let me get really close here so you can see. Here, let me just make sure that's super sharp. Put a thank you note here. So I want to make sure it's super sharp. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, I can see it pinch here, and it's a pretty smooth curve. Like, it doesn't come to a point. I mean, you can see it goes in and back out like that. What I'm going to do is I am going to actually start down here at the knee line, and I'm just going to ever so gradually, I'm going to get rid of about a ½ inch or so total, maybe 3/4. So here is the tip. So I'm just going to trim a little bit here. And I'm just going to do it on one leg so we can see. So you can see what I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to trim off some of the excess under. And I think I'm also going to take in the behind area just a little bit here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to skim like, I don't know, 1/4 off here, not as much, but something like this. So I'm reducing this fisheye dart I had right here. Okay, so that's where the fisheye dart was. I'm going to sew it and skim it a little bit off here and a little bit off here, and I'm going to leave the hem alone because that's already a pretty narrow leg opening for me. So let me just put my leggings back on because now I realize I have to go get my sewing machine behind me, and you all don't need to see my underwear. All right, let me just put these back on. And then, all right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do this quick sewing here, and I'm going to see how this fits. Oh, the other thing I'm going to do is I need to determine if I need to shorten the rise a little bit or I need to snug up the side seam. So I think for now I'm just going to take in both side seams a little bit. So let's draw that too. And I'm just going to stitch these. I'm only going to fix one leg though because I want to compare, you know, between the two. But basically, let me just get this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the waist up here. I'm literally going to let's just take that in half an inch down to crotch level. So if I use a ruler, that'll help give me a nice line here for my French curve. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just gonna go like this. So I'm taking in a half an inch at the top, and then I'm gonna blend to nothing at the crotch level here. So something like this. Well, actually, I think it needs to go like this. Okay, so I have a half an inch here, and then I'm blending to 0 at the crotch. So see this line I drew? I'm going to take that in on that side, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Let's do the same thing over here. And then we're going to try it back on, and we're going to see. So again, I'm just going to trim off half an inch up at the top, and I'm going to blend to 0 at the, you know, at the crotch line. Something like this. Okay. All right, so I've made these two lines. Now I'm just going to plug my machine in and let's sew these. I want to see if I can get a little bit of a better fit on these because I really am excited about this design. And I really don't think, because it's going to fit, I don't think I'm going to need stretch fabric, which originally I thought I'd need to make these out of stretch fabric. So I'm kind of excited that, you know, this is starting to fit the way I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and we're just going to sew this down. So see, I'm just sewing this half inch to nothing at the crotch level. I don't want to take the leg in below crotch because I'm also taking in the back leg in the middle of the back leg. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want to trim off too much, but we'll see how that works out. So let me just do this other side seam. And then we will sew the leg deeper. All right, you know what, and I'm also going to sew up the rest of my center front edge because I think I'll be able to wiggle into them even though I took it in because my waist and my full hip measurement is so similar. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this up too. This way I won't have to worry about pinning the center front shut. All right, so then the last thing I'm going to try here is let's take in that back leg where I marked it. So So I'm going to start down here at the knee line, right here, and I'm just going to gradually come in like I marked it. You guys see what I'm doing? Oh, Mary, yes, there is no FabFit Friday next week, so I'll be in Arizona, but thanks for popping in, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. All right. All right, so I'm just coming in very gradually. I want to get rid of some of this extra fabric. It's on my back leg. And then I'm just going to stitch on the original stitching line until I start to get rid of a little bit above the fisheye dart as well. Now I can see where, in playing with this, having this leg like this, I think would be really exciting for fitting, because think about this, like if the size of that fisheye dart, you know, that we're working on behind, you know, at crotch level on the back leg, I really feel like that will be a good opportunity to, you know, create different, what do I want to say, like different depth of fisheye darts at crotch level, depending on the difference between the full hip, meaning, you know, what your measurement is up on your behind versus what it is at the top of your upper thigh. So that's why I'm playing with this, and I'm really trying to get it to be really well fitted and really comfortable, because then I think this will be a really nice pattern for, you know, for me to grade and make different shapes for different, you know, different size fisheye darts for, you know, different, you know, shape behinds. Like a flat butt would need much less. So that's why I'm excited to work on this. So let's see how it looks now. It feels much better now that I've gotten rid of, so, but see, I still feel like I have a lot of extra here. But let's see what the back looks like. Of course, I can't see what the back looks like. I'm going to go peek at the back because I'm interested. Hold on one second. Oh, yes, much better. Okay. All right, see, so now I feel like the back is hanging down really nicely without looking like it's grabbing here. And it's really closely fitted. I do think I want to take this in a little bit more here. So let's just do the sit down test first, though, because, you know, when you sit down, you know, when you sit down, you get bigger in size. So let me just sit on my chair here. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I'm going to try to take in a little bit more, but I can sit comfortably, and, you know, it's up above my belly button, so I think I do need to get rid of some of the rise. So let me just see. Oh, Dawn says back looks good, and Ella, Rush says, oh, back looks amazing. So, like, you can probably guess I will be developing this into my new pants pattern, because I love this design. And the more I work with it just on myself, the more I'm seeing the benefits of, for fitting and fitting different shapes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this in a little bit more. And while I have it on my body, I'm just going to make, and this is what I would do. So like, I'm just giving you some solo fitting tips here. I'm feeling on my hip, like I don't want to take it in here because it's fine here. Up to here, it's fine. So I'm just going to make a mark like that. That's where I'm going to start taking it in, where I drew that line. And, you know, I guess I could draw a line on this side too. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same, but something like this up to here, from here down, I'm going to take it in a little bit more. And then let's see if that still fits. All right, so I'm very excited about this design. I want to make like a oops. I'm getting used to my roller chair. Remember, I was on a bench for like a good year with no wheels. It was just a static piece of wood on a pole, basically. So now that I have my wheels back, I have to get used to dealing with a chair that has wheels. All right, let's look at what I have going on here. Okay, let me bring this back down here. Oops. Okay, because what I want to show you is where I took it in. Okay, you can see, if I lay it like this, where I marked right here, I think above that it fits fine, but then I would say in this area here, it's still a little too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my French curve here to, I'm literally going to get rid of the curve. See how I can put this ruler here? I want you to see this. See how I'm basically just getting rid of this curve? I'm going to do it in green so you can see. And I'm going to go from 22.5 up to 11. Okay, so see how I'm just going to take that little bit in there, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that right to the other side. So I'm going to go like this, and I mean, I did make my mark. My mark was right here, and you can see that was pretty close. When I just guesstimated a mark, they were very close. I'm just going to repeat from here to here so it matches. So I'm just transferring it so it matches. And again, we want to go from 22 to 11. So see how I marked my ruler with these green? I marked it here and I marked it here. That makes it very easy for me to match it up and make a symmetrical adjustment on the other side. So see how that works? And now I've got these two lines, and they look like they match pretty well. Oh, you staple your muslin. So Victoria says she's having trouble pinning on herself because of an old arm injury. So I definitely think, you know, any way you can get it to work. I will use clips sometimes, like, you know, Wonder Clips or Magic Clips sometimes. All right, so I'm going to just see. And the interesting thing here is going to be able to see if I can still sit down and not have the leg be too tight by taking in this little bit more. We'll see. But I mean, this is very, very common for me because I really do not have much of a hip curve. I have boy legs. Okay, so I'm just there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other side. Okay. All right, I'm excited to try this on. Let me just pick up this camera for a little bit. I'm going to slip these back on, and I think this might be good. Then I'm just going to have to decide about the rise because I think they are a little bit too high for me at the hot moment. Oh, I can still put them on fine. Oh, now they're really starting to feel like, you know, like comfortable pants. see. All right, let's move this out of the way. Let's put this down. Oops, sorry about that. I lost my All right, so let's look at this now. Okay. Yeah, see, I think, getting rid of that little bit really helped. I mean, the crotches, like if I don't know, I think I can just take off whatever I'm going to do for a waistband. I think I would like the top of the waistband to sit where the top of this muslin is now. So I'm just going to trim it off of the top, maybe 1.25 inches, and I'll just make a little narrow waistband to go with these. But I really, I'm really liking this. I think that's good. All right, yeah, I'm excited. So once I iron that and trim all that extra off, I think that's going to look nice. So I've made a fairly slender pant. Now here comes the proof test. If I can sit down, let's see. Oh, and look, see, I can still sit down. It's not too tight, which is nice. So, okay. You can see in the back, it is not dipping at all. So I have 100%, the amount I need for my booty in these pants, which is really nice. So I'm kind of excited about this because, I feel like I can sew these up and make pants. I'm very excited. All right, so having said that, I'm going to take these off and I'm going to put my, I'm going to put my leggings back on, and then I'm just going to show you how I'm going to transfer these things to my paper pattern. And then I think I'm going to make like a bottom weight pair of these. And I think I have some nice, I don't know, I have linen, maybe a lightweight cotton twill, something that would make a nice spring capri pant. Because honestly, if you guys follow along with me, I wear leggings 99% of the time when I'm at home. It'd be nice to have some pants that I could just put on. So that would be kind of fun. All right, I'm also just going to quickly quickly put my sneakers on because that'll be more comfortable for my feet. Okay. All right, so what I just want to do finally here is show you how, you would transfer these things back to the paper pattern, because that's one of the biggest questions I get when it comes to, working with a muslin. Okay, let's look at this and let's transfer all these changes to the paper pattern pieces, and then we will be ready to go in terms of making a test pair to wear. Maybe I'll have time to maybe I'll have enough time to make a pair to wear to Arizona, because in Arizona these would be very cute, I think, because it's a lot warmer in Arizona than it is in Connecticut. And if you're wondering why I'm all of a sudden flushing, it's because I'm having a hot flash, which is my favorite thing. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I am going to switch my view so you can see. Okay, not that view. Come back over here. Okay, I want to make sure. Dawn is asking, when you change to fabric besides the muslin, do you give yourself a little extra seam allowance just in case, or just because? Yes, I do. And I think what I'm going to do, Dawn, that's a really good question, because now I have this third seam here, this back leg seam. I think I like the shape of this back leg. So I'm not going to add any extra allowance to the back leg, but I'm always add an inch seam allowance to the side seams. I always will do that because you never know, like linen might need a little bit more ease. So that's a really good question. Always add a little extra on your side seams. But for here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my paper pattern, and I'm going to have to do it to both, make this adjustment to both sides of this. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll start with this one because I can slide it. Okay, so see, this is the side back piece, and I'm just laying it so it's like, you know, right on top like this. And what that will allow me to do, I mean, normally I would trim this to a 1/2 inch and then take the little trim pieces and use them as templates to cut off the edge of the pattern. But I think in this case, because I can see really clearly where the changes are, and I can lay it right on top of each other like this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it like this. And I just need to find a Sharpie. Here, we'll use, what happened to the Sharpie I was using? Did I drop it on the floor? Nope. I'm going to use orange for something different. And I am going to put this right here. And I'm going to start right here. And like, I can see that I'm literally, from my original edge, my original 1/2 inch is right here, right? I took in about a 1/2 inch here. So what I'll do is I will make some guides. So right here, I ended up getting rid of like 3/8 right here. So right here, I'm going to measure in 3/8 like this, you know, and then when I get over here, it's nothing. And then it starts to become like a 1/4 right here. So I'm going to mark a 1/4. Oh, I'm over here, sorry. And so I'm going to connect that. Then I'm going to connect this to this, like this. And then from this area, it blends to basically nothing back down on this line. So I'm basically going to just come over here like this. Okay, so what I did was I kind of recreated the sliver from what I took in over here. I drew it over here. And then if I cut that off, I'll be able to show you the sliver matches what I changed. And then I can use this sliver to adjust the other side of the back. Okay, so if I take this sliver, this is what I think is going to be really interesting. If I take the sliver and I put it right here on my muslin, you can see that the difference, I think you can see the difference between the sliver and my new stitching line is about a 1/2 inch. So that's how I'm double checking myself. But the cool thing is now I can use this sliver to adjust this leg, but I'm going to have to lay it like this upside down. And then this is going to go like this. So I'm taking off the exact same amount. And I think what I'm going to do to make it real easy is I'm just going to tape it on and I'll cut it off. So I'm literally just going to tape this sliver onto the edge like this. Tape it on. So it matches. It goes all the way down to here. And then I can just carefully trim off the same amount. Right here. all the way to nothing up at the top. So see, I have two identical slivers now. So I've taken care of that. I feel like this is looking a little wonky, so I am going to just true that up a little bit right here too. I'm just straightening this out. Okay, just so it doesn't look wonky. All right, so I took that in. Now I'm going to do the same thing up here. And you know, I just got another better idea. I'm going to take these two pieces and I'm going to see if I can pin them together. These should match pretty closely. I mean, they're pretty close. Okay, so notice when I put these together, they match perfectly, this hip curve. Oh, okay, shh. I'm not going to tell anyone you're here. Although I love that. Okay. All right, so I'm just pinning these together because if I pin these together like this, then I can trim off a like amount to both sides at the same time instead of doing what I just did, because these curves match up perfectly. So I'm just pinning it in two places so it doesn't shift. Okay, and then I can put this over here. Now on the top, we're taking off much less. I mean, literally, I'm skimming off, you know, significantly less. It's like almost nothing, really. So like I can see it starts like right here with just a little bit. So I really think we're just barely getting rid of an eighth here. And then skimming to nothing. So I'm just going to trim that off. It's such a little amount, I think it'll be fine. So I'm just going to start here. Just going to trim this, trim an eighth off, and then blend back to nothing up here. Okay, so I'm getting rid of these little skimmies. Okay, so I took care of the whole back leg. Now the side seams, let's see if our side seams are close enough that I can see what those are doing. So here's my side seam and my other side seam. I'm going to pin those together because I think those are pretty close too. Okay, so my side seams are matching perfectly here. So, and I normally don't do that when I draft a pattern. Normally my side and inseams might be slightly different in shape, but because I'm contouring this and I have the extra seam to help me create shape, it's just working out that they're so similar. So what I'll be able to do is use the side seam here. And turn it this way. So here's my side seam. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to lay it right here so we can see what we did all the way down. So I basically got rid of, I went from a half an inch to nothing over here. So this will be relatively easy because I'm literally just going to do this. I'm going to go from nothing there. Well, I don't even need this. I'm just going to mark a half an inch. And then when I start to get down here, I'm going to start blending close. So something like that. Can you guys see that? Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. See how I'm... So basically I'm just marking the difference. So this orange right here is the difference between my original side seam and my new side seam. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at what I took in. Oops, wait a minute. Let me move this guy over here for now. Put myself over here for now. So see how this orange part is what I'm removing, all of this, right? So that's what I use as a gauge between the two seams, the original 1/2 inch and then where I ended up. And then I'm just going to cut that off. Like this. But I like the fact that I'm adjusting both seams at the same time, you know, so they still agree with each other. So this sliver I cut off is what I took in right here. So see, what I took in is what I cut off. All right, so now the last thing I'm going to do is on the tops of the pieces, I am going to just remove an inch. I'm going to remove an inch because I'll have a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that will give me the 1.5 inches that I want for my waistband. So this part is really easy because all I'm going to do is use my ruler to mark an 1.5 inches like this. Make it a little shorter. Like this. Okay, and I'm just going to cut this off. So this is going bye-bye. Oh, I was just going to cut off an inch. All right, I measured an 1.5 inches. I only wanted to take off an inch, so let me just go ahead and tape that back on. Silly me. All right, let's try that again. We're going to measure an inch. Like this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off. All right, so that's going to finish my front leg. So my front leg is now adjusted. And now I'm going to just take an inch off of all right, so I'm going to take this is what I'm going to do. Obviously, I have to take an inch off of my side seam because I took it off of the front. So this is my side seam, is right here. Okay, this is my side seam. So I am going to take an inch off here. But I'm going to blend that to a 1/2 inch to nothing at center back. I just want to make sure I have enough room at center back. I'll fine tune that when I check it better in the mirror, but I don't want to take off anything off of the center back because remember I needed the length. So I'm just going to go from a 1/2 inch here to nothing. So basically I'm just doing this. I'm going to cut off that and that like that. So I'm not taking anything off over here, but I'm taking the inch off that I took off the front there. That's how I'm going to fix that. Okay. All right, so now this pattern is ready, I believe, for me to test fit it into something I'm actually going to wear. I'm very excited. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I feel like I accomplished something this week. I know you guys have had the kind of week I've had. Like life and things just get in the way. Every time I sat down to work on something popped up. It was one thing after another. But I am very excited about this pattern now because I will be able to make it out of muslin. I mean, you know, something nice. And I think I'm going to keep it a capri length. And then I can, you know, I can show you how that looks. Maybe you'll see some pictures from me modeling them in Arizona, because I really think it would be fun for me to have a new pair of pants to wear to Arizona. So I'm gonna be gunning to finish these for Arizona. So I'm excited, and I think it's just gonna be a simple elastic waist pant, because I can pull them on. The waist now almost fits nicely. I don't need a zipper because I can just pull them on because of my shape. So I think what I'm going to do is just make a nice elastic waist pair. And I'm going to have an extra inch at my side seam so I can let them out if I need to. But I'm really feeling like this is going to be my new favorite pants pattern. I'm really excited. So what I want you all to do, all of you who come here and follow along with me, start thinking of a fun pattern name for these pants, because I am not the best at naming my patterns. So I will be open to suggestions for a pattern name, which I think is kind of fun if you guys can follow along with me and help me think of something. So I'm very excited about this pattern. I'm going to be introducing it into my pattern line, and I'm very excited. So no FabFit Friday next week, but remember, we have one more Friday when I get back that's still in February before March starts. So we will have a wrap up FabFit Friday for this pants draft fit series, and then I'm going to start a bodice draft fit design series. Oh, the Arizona pants. I like that. I like that. You get a gold star for thinking about that while you're at work. So I like that. And also I want to say hi to await Listeria la la la. Ella Rush was going to say the same thing. Arizona pants. I like that. I'm excited. All right. Now I'm super motivated to finish them. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to ink it in. Ready? Where's my... Why do I keep losing my sharpening markers? Oh, here. Arizona pant, side, back. Arizona pant, center back. And Arizona front. Oh, pant. All right. All right. I wrote it in Sharpie. There you go. Okay. Darlene sent a heart. I love that. All right. Darlene might be taking me to, I don't know, there might be some fabric store in Arizona we might be going to after we finish the workshop. So I can tell you right now, I'm going to be having a great time in Arizona. So super excited. So I just want to thank everybody for hanging out with me here. If you have any questions or comments, post those and I will help you. And I hope you guys have a great week. I will have a cool tool on the Fit Tip Tuesday for next week, so I will have that available, and I will be posting behind the scenes from Arizona next weekend, so you can see what we're doing. All right, so I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their day. All right, bye.